February the 7th, 2021, John Coogan posts a tweet. He's just crossed 500 subscribers. It's still small in absolute terms, but he couldn't be happier about its trajectory. It gets 8 likes. 5 years later, OpenAI, one of the fastest growing companies in human history, buys John's show for hundreds of millions of dollars.
This is from the OpenAI blog. OpenAI acquires TBPN, accelerating the global conversation about AI.
This is one of the wildest stories of YouTube's success, and no one is talking about it. But before we get into how he did it, we need to understand, who is John Coogan? Because he isn't a random influencer who just got lucky. He is a serial entrepreneur who co-founded Soylent, the Silicon Valley meal replacement, and Lucy, the nicotine patch company. He went through Y Combinator, the world's most prestigious startup accelerator, twice, and he's raised over $100 million for his companies. It's safe to say this guy knows how to build things. And back in 2021, in the middle of a pandemic with a small camera and zero experience, he started posting on YouTube. Now, this guy is probably one of the most successful creators on the platform since MrBeast. He's just made hundreds of millions of dollars. What was his strategy? Well, what it wasn't was hiring a camera crew, a production team, or this crazy big set. It was actually the opposite, and it couldn't have been more boring. When asked how he was growing, he said this: post one new video every single week, incremental improvements, and eventually the algorithm will kick in. Every upload, he tweaked something different: sound, lighting, presenting more naturally. John wasn't trying to go viral. He was trying to improve the craft of video. And even though this is boring, I actually think this is the most bulletproof way to grow a big channel. Just look at the transformation. Here's his first video.
Hey everyone, I'm John Coogan, and this is the first in a series of videos about fundraising.
Here's 10 videos later.
Hey everyone, I'm John Coogan, and here's why you should spend your valuable time listening to me talk about startups.
This is his latest video.
By allowing people to travel further and faster, the transportation revolution created bigger economic markets.
It's unrecognizable. Many people ask themselves, how do I create high-performing YouTube videos as fast as possible? But John asked himself a different question. How do I keep improving my skills? Because if I can do that, the high-performing videos will come. Another unique thing that John did was something that no one talks about. He prioritized his own energy. Instead of creating content that would maximize views, he made content that he loved creating. When we think about his background, it's made up of this unique worldview of startups, politics, and business. And it's around these areas where he has his edge. It would have been so easy for him to do videos that maximize views that we see all the time on YouTube. How to make $10,000 per month, how to create a side hustle in your 20s. His companies have now raised $100 million. Like, he could have done this stuff, but he actively avoided it. Instead, he'd do breakdowns of entrepreneurs and investors that he admired. He kept YouTube light. He explored his own curiosity. In fact, in an interview, when asked about YouTube growth, he said he actively resisted it. Why don't you niche down and get more views? John said, I've always been doing it for fun. Niching down on a topic just to get views is soul-sucking. I've stayed away from it. I'd probably go faster if I was the iPhone review guy, the metaverse guy. But I'm not super focused on growth on this channel. It's not the point. It's fun. John wasn't optimizing for what gave him views. He was optimizing for what gave him energy. And it's so much easier to be consistent with YouTube when it's a fountain of energy, not a drain. So here we've got one of the most successful creators to come from YouTube with money and experience building businesses. And he's doing two controversial things to grow his channel. He's creating with an average camera, zero resources, terrible lighting, and he's actively avoiding content that works. This is not your average YouTube growth strategy. It's slow, but it's also compounding. And what happens when you're learning every upload and only creating content you enjoy? Well, as Charlie Munger says, the big money is not in the buying or the selling, it's in the waiting. And that's exactly what happened. John's first video was uploaded November the 5th, 2020. 5 months later, he's uploaded 24 videos and he's just hit 500 subscribers. Not much, but John is super happy with the growth rate. By November 2021, 1 year in, he's hit 20,000 subscribers. By August 2022, 2 years in, he's crossed 200,000 subscribers. After humble beginnings, suddenly the channel looked unstoppable. John's having a blast, the content is unique, but not only is it just unique, it's now world class. He's not only just growing fast, he's creating content that gives him energy, exploring business, geopolitics, the world. He flies past 400,000 subscribers and generates over 45 million views. Someone with John's experience here could have done anything. Created a venture fund, launched a consumer business, bought a bank with Mr. Beast. But after years of building this channel that so many people would kill for, what does he do? No grand announcement, no final video, and instead, he pivots to this.
You read the Wall Street Journal today?
Of course.
Yeah.
I need my copy.
2 guys, 5 newspapers, some cadence of a conversation somewhere. John leaves YouTube to partner with Geordie Hayes to create the TBPN Technology Business Programming Network. On the show, they break down tech news, live stream, 3 hours a day. The first video generates 92 likes and less than 4,000 views, but John's not worried, he's been here before. And just like YouTube, he evolves it fast.
I mean, the early thing was that we both had years and years of experience in the things that were important, which was YouTube, but on different sides. Me on the actual content creation, you on the ad sales side.
Every single day is new, and bringing that, trying to really compound it. And I think we've done a good job of that, where it's like if you look at just one shot of the show every single day over the last year, you would see very clearly there's like minor iterations happening every single day. And
the feedback loop is super addictive for them. Episode 2 is better than episode 1. Episode 10 is unrecognizable. By episode 30, they have a world-class production on their hands once again. This feedback loop and rate of improvement, this isn't linear, it's exponential. And suddenly, everyone wants to be a part of it. You got Mark Zuckerberg, Satya Nadella, Sam Altman. This TBPN, whatever they just created, was an instant cult classic. The New York Times calls it the Silicon Valley's newest obsession. The Free Press, the most influential talk show you've never heard of. The show that started with 92 likes was exploding, and somewhere in San Francisco, the fastest growing company in human history is watching. 6 months into YouTube, John was celebrating 500 subscribers. 1 year into TBPN, and OpenAI acquires the show for hundreds of millions of dollars. And there's one thing that no one is talking about with this acquisition. John didn't just get lucky with this interesting video format. He won because he learned the language of the internet, which is video. TBPN was this perfect culmination of content only they could do, but also content they loved doing. Steve Jobs says,
"You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards."
Creating on YouTube exposes you to these amazing invisible dots of the future. Even though the acquisition of TBPN was 1 year into the program, John started right here on YouTube 5 years ago. As we've just discovered, there is so much we can learn from how John got acquired, but I actually think the fact he got acquired should be studied too. In fact, I actually think this could be a major sign that the creator landscape may have just changed forever. You see, the previous business model for creators, it wasn't pretty. You post videos, you get numbers, YouTube pay for AdSense, brands pay for exposure. But if you stop creating, you stop getting paid. But the costs don't stop. It's one of the reasons I stepped away from my channel 5 years ago. I was creating these amazing videos, but if I didn't feel like sneaking onto a red carpet, dressing up as a fake model, I was either going to get paid way less or not at all. I left, and there's so many other creators that have done the same. People think being a YouTuber is this escape from the rat race, but in some sense it's just this never-ending hamster wheel. But for the first time ever, this seems to be changing. As products become easier to create, distribution and trust becomes more valuable. Channels are being acquired for this distribution. Earlier this year, we saw Pat Wells' Starter Story be acquired. HubSpot also bought Futurepedia. Now, OpenAI acquiring a 1-year-old live stream show. This is the start of something big. Big companies are realizing they can't build trust from scratch, so they're buying it. You can build these extremely valuable channels, have teams run them and manage them, and then sell them for life-changing money. John Coogan celebrated 500 subscribers in early 2021. Nobody cared. He had no destination, no real plan, just a camera, hunger to learn, and the discipline to show up every week. He didn't know he'd go on to generate millions of views. He didn't know he'd create a 3-hour daily live show, and he definitely didn't know OpenAI would buy it for hundreds of millions of dollars. And this, to me, is the beauty of YouTube. You don't need accreditation. You don't need connections or permission from someone. You need creativity, consistency, and grit. The barrier to create has never been lower. The reward has never been higher. And you have no idea where your next upload will take you, but you know exactly where you'll be if you don't. And that is exactly where you are right now.